What's up, bitches? Welcome to Deliciously Nothing, episode 143. I'm your host, Nick Weir. I've got a great cast with me tonight, dude. I got our favorite, Joe Collins, over here, and one of our other favorites, Micah Conn.
Yeah.
Hi, Joe.
I've got the biggest dick in this room.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say much more, but mine doesn't have scales. I feel comfortable saying that.
Yeah, this does look like a dragon dick for sure. Is that what it is supposed to be?
Yes.
A dragon, a creature cock.
Yes. You can bring the box up, I guess.
A creature cock. Dig deep in the hole.
This demonic dragon cock is ready for your horny hole.
Oh.
Tapered for easier insertion, strong suction based, and a unique scaly design.
Unique. All right.
Made with its premium silicone, harness compatible, firm and flexible, and phthalate free.
I guess it is not used.
No, it was given to us by a band. I forget the name.
That's awesome.
Of the band. It was I have to go back.
That's
and look
like
at
a
the
fun gift to bring. I feel like that's a good. What is it that they do?
Could you
around
imagine
the
getting that at
holidays?
your office party Secret
Oh my
Santa?
God. Yeah, the like.
You want an HR complaint very fast?
What's it
Right,
called? The
exactly.
big elephant.
Yeah, the white elephant.
The white elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Why
gonna
would you
steal.
do that?
I'm gonna steal.
The easiest way to get fired, dude.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh man. Well.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, the band said that it wasn't used, but when
But was the box open when they gifted it?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
The box was open.
That's a problem.
Yes.
I guess yeah. Phthalate free. I guess I don't know what a phthalate is, but I feel like that sounds like something RFK Jr. doesn't want us to have inside of us.
Probably.
I guess that's why I'm so tired all the time. I've had too much.
I will say I don't think a lot of his ideas are good, but I saw something he was saying. He's just like, I think that the Fruit Loops in America, just like the Fruit Loops in Canada, should be made with natural dyes. So I was like, well, that's reasonable.
Sounds reasonable.
That is reasonable.
You know,
That's pretty fine.
I feel like he's really into psilocybin and like mushrooms and things like that. Also, I heard
Is he?
earlier. I mean, I'm not sure.
That's also.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I can't say that I co-sign everything he's been saying, but
Yeah, but those two things are.
those two things sound fine. If
Those
I'm going
are
to eat
normal
Fruit Loops,
things.
I want the dyes to be normal. Although, I will say, I don't know, I've been ingesting dyes and fluoride and whatever my whole life, and I would like to say I'm fine, but probably not. I mean...
Well, I'm sure, 100 years from now, they'll be like, this is the day we start switching to natural dyes. This is somebody's body before.
Yeah.
This is somebody's body after.
Yeah.
I
Like,
wonder-
what are those, like, evolution charts, I feel like,
mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, or an Animorphs cover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He is pretty ripped, RFK Jr. I mean, I would
is
have him
jacked.
as, like, a
true.
CrossFit trainer or something.
His vocal cords aren't ripped. No, his vocal cords are ripped.
They are
Everything's ripped.
pretty
You
torn
know what?
up.
Actually, it's all ripped around our.
Yeah. I wonder
I
how
do
he and
wonder-
Cheryl are doing.
Yeah.
Because did you hear the whole, like, he had that, like, emotional affair, whatever, with the journalist?
No.
Oh.
Yes. I mean, and, like, I don't know. People, I feel like, I don't know if they care that much. But there was, like, a journalist who was covering him, and she and him got into a, quote, digital affair, which I thought was something else. But apparently it's texting.
They were just texting. That's
And
it.
she, I think, maybe lost her job or was on probation or something like that. And he was like,
Wow.
wasn't me, in the words of Shaggy. Yeah.
Really?
So I don't really know. I feel like Cheryl also was, like, anti-Trump. But I feel like she's just maybe having to deal with it now that he's going to be in the administration.
Yeah, well, they're
Is he, or are they looking at him being...
for like some
For health,
which is
yeah.
like when he was talking about the food dye thing.
Yeah.
But like he's also anti-vax.
Yeah.
Which is
one's
like
gonna be
not
an interesting one.
I don't think that person should involve themselves with our country's health.
True.
He said he's not going to take the vaccines away from anyone. I'm like, I guess I'll go get them while I can.
Yeah, like, does that mean, like, well, especially with the Department of Education going, does that mean, like, you don't have to get vaxxed to go to kindergarten?
Probably.
Right,
that's like a good point.
Shit.
Or, like, middle school? Like, I had to get 6th grade vaccines.
Because I understand, like, I guess people's, like, feelings of, like, I don't want the government to, like, force me to get a vaccine to go to work or whatever. Like, I understand that argument, but, like, for kids, it's like, I feel like if they're going to be...
I mean, we've been vaccinating kids for, like, it works. Look, I've never had measles. Have
True.
you?
I never had measles. I never had, chicken pox.
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
Is there a foot, hand, mouth disease vaccine?
I don't know. We were supposed to have Nick Galoosa on tonight, but
he got HFM.
Yeah, he's
HFM is a cool name for it,
all right.
for sure.
That's what we like. That's what we had to start like shorthanding it at camp that summer.
Oh
like
my
I mean, when you put 400 9 to 15-year-olds in a location with 250 college kids with another 100 actual adults, shit's gonna spread.
Yeah.
I feel like my immune system probably stinks because I'm never around children. Like, I feel like if I was around, like, one child for 10 minutes, I would probably, like, fall ill. Just because, because I feel like if you're around kids all the time, you probably have good immunity.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I walk into that, like, where the gymnastics, like there's just, like, it smells like viruses in there.
Oh, God, yes. Okay. I definitely see what you mean. Yeah. Kids are nasty. I mean, they're dirty.
Yeah. I have somehow, like, constructed my life such that I, like, never interact with children. I, like, see them occasionally out and about. But
do you ever see, like a really, like a 1, 2, 3-year-old and just go, like, oh, people are still making that choice?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they're still... Why?
It's so funny. So there's a gentleman who lives above me, and, like, one day I just started hearing, like, what I thought was a cat crying. And then I guess this baby just appeared out of nowhere. And the baby is very cute, whatever. But, like, I haven't really been around kids very much. And I'm a little bit cranky. And I, like, looked in our, like, HOA manual. I'm like, are kids allowed in this apartment? I was like... Or they're like,
it's not a resort in Cancun, Joe. It's an apartment complex in Nashville.
I'm like, they're like noisier than dogs, and like large dogs are not allowed, but very cute baby.
Yeah.
I say into the camera.
I mean, when it gets older, it'll stomp a lot.
Yeah.
Yell and talk back.
Yeah, toddlers, I feel
bitch.
like, for sure, for sure. I know.
Whatever.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like kids today, because parents, I think, are a little more loosey-goosey or nicer or whatever. I don't know. Like, I feel like when I was a kid, we weren't, like, talking back very much because our parents, with their eyes, were like, don't do that, you know?
Yeah, I will say, like,
true.
The kids I've worked with, like, yes. Like, and I'm sure, like, people who were, you know, in their 45 when I was, you know, these 8, 9-year-olds, they're like, man, he's talking back a lot. But, like, I'm like, I feel like I had a little bit.
Are they, like, on their phones all the time?
They don't have phones.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Awesome.
Well, so I heard,
dude.
like, a lot of schools are, like, restricting phone use during the school day, but I'm like, don't kids need to know how to do everything with their phone attached to their hand like adults? Like, I feel like you need to know how to do a job with your phone in your hand, right?
Yeah.
That's a point.
But, I don't know. I definitely feel like having a cell phone all the time has changed my attention span.
Oh, 1,000.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Dude.
And I hate it.
Yeah, like I used to be able to like watch TV, watch a movie, and not like look at anything else. And now it's like I'll watch a TikTok and it will be 4 minutes long, and I'm like 1 minute in. I'm like, this is too long.
And
it's too long.
I have ADHD. It's like crack. It's bad.
Yeah. I wonder what's gonna happen with TikTok. I know that they were like talking about banning it or something, but like I don't know.
They were talking about that.
They've talked about that a lot.
And I feel like
they
it's
talk about
been
a lot
an ongoing
of
thing for what, like 4 years? I feel like, or something.
Right.
Like it's been,
and it's still ongoing.
And it's still ongoing.
I remember when I first got TikTok and like it was peak quarantine. Like I was like, okay, like because I just heard like Chinese government, blah blah blah, and then I was like, I don't know enough, and if people are saying like maybe I'll be a little bit careful, and then quarantine went on long enough, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be very careful. I don't want the Chinese government to know that I'm Jewish. I feel like that'd be a bad thing. 5 videos.
Oh,
I was like, how did you do that? Who'd you consult? Did you look at my Instagram followers? What's going on?
Well, that's the thing is I feel like for a lot of people, it probably doesn't matter what the government knows about, like, I don't know, whatever, but it's like.
I don't think Xi Jinping cares where I spend my Friday nights.
Yeah, but I do feel like for certain people, like I would say like for journalists or whatever, maybe it does, if the government.
Sure.
But it's interesting. I got a new phone recently, and so it's like, your TikTok like For You page like is like customized for you.
Right.
But when you get a new phone, it's like fresh For You page that has like never like seen a human
hand. Do you not
hand.
have like an account that?
Well, yeah, I eventually like logged into my real one, but like when I first opened
okay.
It was like in the thing that they like the things that they put on like just like the fresh For You page were like feet, like this thing like taking like skin off of feet, like, and I'm like, who's watching this? And like babies dancing and stuff, and I'm like, this is not for me. I'm like,
this is for you, not me.
I'm like, what are like the general public watching? Because like my For You page is a lot of like politics and music, whatever, like, but and then I started, I started getting like those Charlie Kirk debates high school student videos.
Well, there were.
What is that?
I mean, in the 4.5 years I've had TikTok, there were a couple times where I a more like conservative alt-right video would come up, and I just like would watch because I'm curious. I'm curious what they're hearing, and then within like 3 or 4 videos, it's like I realized I'm like it really is so quick for people to go down that pipeline. And it was like I was just like, I was like, give me back! I don't want to leave! I want to get me out of here! Ah!
Yeah, no, that's so true. Because I like will listen to podcasts on like from one spectrum to the other, whatever, just because I'm curious. And but my TikTok showed me like one video of like Donald Trump, and I like watched it because I was curious. What's he doing? He's gonna be the president. I'm curious.
You should know.
And then the next video was like one of those like edits that people do of like Barron Trump. And it was so it was like all these like photos of him like through the years with like music behind it and whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to like be watching this like weird like video.
Watch a slideshow about this
Barron Trump. I'm like, I know he's like now 18, but I'm like, ugh.
He was young. He was like 11 when he went in the White House.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see.
And 5 feet shorter.
Cause
he's so tall. He's so tall.
He's like 7 feet tall or something. I mean, I don't know how tall he is, but he's huge.
No,
and yeah, I'm curious. I guess I had heard some things that he was the one who had suggested that Trump like go on all those like Joe Rogan podcasts and whatever. I don't.
Oh my God, it makes so much sense.
I don't know if that's true.
But if that is, let's like. Play it out if that is.
He's an 18.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think because he was like, this is what young men listen to, are these the Nelk boys and whatever. And but I'm curious because I've seen a couple of like videos that are like, he is the future Barron Trump, whatever, and I'm like, is he gonna be president one day?
Is he the next George W?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, I mean, I don't know anything about him because he's like very quiet seeming.
Because he's a child.
Yeah, and I have not really been curious about him, to be honest.
Well, I'm just curious if he'll like how he's gonna turn out as an adult.
If he will be George W. Bush, if we're gonna have a Barron Trump one day, because like,
I'm glad this is on video and I called it now.
I know, right? Dude, you know what? I am pissed that I didn't bet on the election because all of those like FanDuel stuff, like for the election, and I knew Trump was gonna win, but I like should have put money on it. What was I thinking? At least I could have made some money.
Shit. I didn't even.
That would make, because I was seeing him on these podcasts like over the last few years, and I'm like I know these podcasts are popular, like the Nelk Boys, for example, but I'm like, who is letting Trump go? Like, who reached out to who? I didn't get it, but if that is true, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think
all that makes sense.
I get why it happened. I'm not on their side. Let me be clear with what I mean by I get it.
Because I think that they were trying to reach out to like young male voters who were sort of disaffected and you know what I mean, like and engage them again.
Young male voters was like a reason why.
Yeah.
And like I will say, like he seemed like he had a long conversation with like. When he went on Theo Vaughn and like Joe Rogan and whatever, and JD Vance, both of them like seemed more normal. Like when you actually like heard them talk for an extended period of time. Probably like you could grab
a beer with them.
And so like it normalized them for sure, because like and I mean I don't know them. I don't know them in their hearts. I'm just like grabbing this.
You're like, let me.
I'm just gonna tell. I'm gonna just go ahead and tell the audience that I voted for John. No, I didn't. I mean, I think you guys know that I probably. I did, but I will say now that I'm rooting for him because I care about America. I mean, I want him to do well. I don't want to see him. I was almost like, after listening to JD Vance on these podcasts, I had only seen those clips of him be like childless cat ladies don't deserve to live or whatever. He didn't say that. That was extreme. They get less of a vote and they're all miserable and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I am miserable, but for other reasons. Like, sir. But I hope that they act normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like true. I mean, I was thinking about that earlier. Like, hopefully I'm wrong.
Right.
Hopefully my worst fears are wrong. I don't think all of them are. You know what I mean? But let them prove me wrong. Like, it kind of like what Chappelle said at the end of his 2016 SNL monologue. He's like, which is, I mean, this was 4 days after the election, before we knew what Trump was going to do in office, and then obviously what happened in the last 8 years. But he was like, I think we should give him a chance, and I hope he gives us a chance too. Talking about like him as a black person, and I was like, that's a really smart way to for any person who didn't vote for him or didn't want to be president, be like, yeah, hopefully this doesn't go as badly as we expect. Hopefully, that's all you can want for your country, is things to be good, and if
And it's promising that he met with Biden to talk about transition. I mean, his cabinet picks are a little bit wacky, but I will say it's a hard time, I think, in comedy, because I want to get along with everyone, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna tell jokes.
Well, so on my ghost tours, I have.
Does anyone need anything?
Oh, I'm okay.
Oh, okay. If you could find a Coke in there, I can't seem to find one. If not, it's not a big deal. There's this story I do about a prostitute who gets murdered by a married wealthy businessman. They had this relationship, but he gets jealous, so she cuts things off. He kills her. And I talk about how, he claims it's suicide, then, nobody believes him, so they convict him of the crime. And then I say, now, when you're a wealthy businessman convicted of a crime, you appeal. And then I, say he appeals 5-6 times, and then I say that eventually they're like, we're done with this. Like, they convict him. Thank you, Nick. They put him in prison, and then I say, look at that. Our justice system getting it right 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that always worked, and then I would go, and then I'd say there's like a reason I don't go to law school. And you're doing stand-up comedy and telling these stories, but it's not like that line where I say, look at that. Our justice system getting it right 100% of the time in a very sarcastic manner, talking about this wealthy businessman.
Yeah.
After Tuesday stopped working.
Yeah, it's very,
like that. So
it is very interesting. Like, and again, I am trying to get along with everybody. I'm not sitting here, like, I've seen these women that are like, I'm not going to have sex with men, and I'm going to shave my head and crying on the internet and whatever, like, the 4B movement and all that, and people like just crying into their TikTok, like, oh, I'm so sad about the election. I mean, I'm telling jokes, whatever. Right. But I have noticed in the last week that people are not taking jokes as they should be. Like, I posted something very, very stupid, like, about Trump's new border czar. And it was, like, the dumbest thing ever. It was, like, he looks like he would make a kid smoke an entire pack of cigarettes if he caught the kid smoking or something, And I had this guy, like, respond to my joke and be like, I am curious to know why you're so triggered by this border czar who's just trying to save children from dying of fentanyl. And I was like, dude, come on. I'm like, come the fuck on. Like, dude. I'm like, I care about kids, and I don't, this wasn't even like saying, whatever, like, oh, I think we should have a wide open border and everybody, I want everyone to die of fentanyl overdose. I mean, like, come on, like, so, I don't know. I feel like in the last,
stupid as fuck.
I'm like, people can just, like, you can see on the internet if something is, like, a joke or not, Somebody else, I posted something else that was, like, a joke, and some guy commented on it, this many women have died of abortion, whatever, something, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, everybody, like, needs to relax, like, I'm not trying to fight anybody on the internet right now. Like, I'm just telling little stupid jokes.
That's it, dude. Just tell the jokes. Everything's okay.
I'm like, I don't want to have to stay away from politics because that's what I'm interested in. But I'm like, I feel like I should wait a couple of weeks before everyone's just kind of fucking calmed down.
I love Adam Ray's Joe Biden impression.
Oh,
it is so
my God,
silly,
yeah,
right, dude?
It is so.
Like, okay.
Dana Carvey was also really good as Joe Biden.
Yes.
He wasn't as good at Elon Musk as I maybe.
It was Chloe Feynman doing Elon Musk.
Oh, it was.
I believe.
I guess I couldn't even tell who.
Which apparently there's like, I'm not talking in the mic. Which apparently there's history behind, like when Elon Musk hosted SNL, which I forgot he did. Apparently he made her cry.
Oh God.
He seems like a dick. I mean,
she was talking about how she goes in there, she is pitching a sketch, and he's like reading through it, and he's like, "This isn't funny." Like to her, and then the sketch makes the show does pretty well.
Well, and if you've ever seen his jokes on Twitter, nice. They're all just like dick jokes, 69 jokes. Like he's like obsessed with like middle school humor, I feel like. So if he told me something I did was not funny, I would be like, "Thank you." I don't know that I would. But no, really he seems horrible. He seems horrible to interact with. I'm telling. Yeah. I hope he's watching.
That's why I don't get on X, Twitter, whatever anymore.
I've never really been on Twitter. Like I made an account like at one point, but I was never like part of my rotation of social media, and certainly not now. I'm like, and I think I'm I'm glad that's a choice young Micah made.
Well, yeah. I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, that everyone was like exiting to go to Blue Sky because they're going to use the data from Twitter for Grok, his like AI or whatever. So people were like deleting their tweets because they didn't want it to be like vacuumed up.
Blue Sky is something like Twitter.
Yeah, Blue Sky is like another social media type site, and I have Threads and I have Blue Sky, and I have Twitter, and I'm like, I need the Fediverse now because I cannot post on 3 different fucking sites.
Right.
I'm like, I can't.
All the thoughts and everything.
I'm like, I can't. I mean, and I'm not even like a full-time content creator. I'm like, how do like journalists, I guess you just copy and paste, but I'm like, I feel like Threads, if you're posting on Threads, Blue Sky, and Twitter, that's too much.
Are you not on Truth Social?
I would go on Truth Social to like check it out, but I feel like Twitter pretty much is Truth Social at this point.
I agree with you. Like, I studied political science in college, and that's why, like, when something like that alt-right pipeline stuff like comes up, I'm like, it's important to know what they think.
Yeah.
That's true.
Just like, no matter what side you're on, like, it's important to know what people are thinking.
I think that I was not surprised by the outcome of the election because I had been listening to people on the right, and there was just a lot of nonsense about Kamala Harris being, quote, low IQ, and then like pushing this idea about, and it's basically like a stupid dog whistle.
When she was in the House, the Senate, and then vice president, like
that she's like vacant, and that she would just laugh because she didn't even know what she was doing, whatever. And I feel like I heard so much of that I like was not surprised as much as like people who like had put themselves in the like left bubble. You know what I mean?
I was only surprised by how decisive it was.
Yeah, that it like
I wasn't going to be surprised if she won or he won. Yeah. I was surprised by the decisiveness and like massive red shift.
Oh my God. She's not watching, so I feel like I can say this. Nobody tell her. My mom. Okay, so I'm obsessed with politics, right?
Yes.
So the day after the election, I called my mom. She didn't pick up. So then I called later. It was like almost 4 p.m. the day after the election. And my mom was like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, hello. I was like, are we going to talk about the election? She was like, oh, who won? And I was like, ma'am.
I say this on stage.
I was like, ma'am. And so I was like, can I talk to Dad? And she was like, he's in the garage. He doesn't know either. And I was like, is the garage in the 1980s? Like, what are you doing? I was like, and then it turns out she said she cared too much, that she didn't want to know what the outcome was because she didn't like all the fighting. And I was like, so,
what
like...
What are you planning on doing for the next 4 years?
I was like, are you going to watch SNL at some point? Because you're going to find out. I was like, you can't, like, hide from...
True.
I'm like, you're going to find out who won. I was like, this is like going to the doctor and, like, closing your eyes when you step on the scale. I'm like, you're going to find out. Like, what are you doing? Like,
nothing.
It was
no outlets of any kind.
It was crazy to me that she wanted to talk about the weather, and I was like, even if you like, I was like, what are you doing instead? And she was like, I'm watching reruns of Roseanne, and I was like, well, I've got an update for you about Roseanne Barr if you're interested. My mom also didn't know that Roseanne Barr was talking about like how like people on the left at colleges are like drinking baby blood and stuff. I was like,
what?
Yeah, I don't even know.
I
but
mean,
I
look,
was
as
like,
a recent college grad, I can't say what happened in the dining hall.
well, I went to Catholic school, so I drank a lot of blood, you know, but and it wasn't baby blood; it was the blood of Christ.
The blood.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But yeah, no, I don't even know. I was like, how were you not like? I was like waiting to see what the results were. I was like, how are you so And I was like, retired people don't give a fuck. I'm like...
They truly don't.
Because I was like, this doesn't impact your life at all, I feel like.
Yeah, that's something.
I was like, that's crazy. Who won? I was like, even like the Amish people in Pennsylvania like turned out in like record numbers.
Really?
Like, I guess there was this guy, Scott Presley, who like was like, and Elon Musk, like, I guess like was like part of like getting this going. He was like running around to the different like Amish places, being like, get to the boat.
When I heard that there was a large portion of Amish people that went out, I was like, how'd they hear about it? And did they use a pencil and paper? Like, they didn't. Like it's 2024.
Yeah.
When I went with my mom to the polls in 2008, the machines were electronic. I think 2000 ruined that one for everybody. But like, how'd they vote? Like, I don't.
It's true.
I don't mean this with like ignorance, but like, I just don't get. I don't get it.
I guess, yeah, and like, how are they more in tune than my parents who like have access to a cell phone?
Like, it's not. I mean, like, they're clearly not watching what they're saying on TV or Twitter or whatever. I don't think Trump or Kamala went to Amish country to campaign.
I think Trump did. I think that was like they had to like ground.
Maybe
like a grassroots campaign like in Pennsylvania to like, because what I heard, and like who knows, this is all the secondhand, but was that there are like government regulations that were like impacting the Amish, and that like they went to Pennsylvania to be like, the government is gonna like come and do whatever to you. You have to vote for Trump because he'll take away the government regulations that are like impacting you. And they were all like, let's get in our wagon. But to your point, I'm like, shit. I don't know how is it against their, I don't know, this is my ignorance. Is it like against their religion to use any technology, or can they use it to...
When I was in 5th grade, I watched Breaking Amish on TLC, so I know everything there is to know about
this culture. Spill the beans, because I don't really know very well.
Like, I want to say, like, no electricity, and that, like, you know, just, like, me being Jewish, like, on Shabbat, like, that would include lights, cars, any of that.
Yeah.
Another big thing was like no photographs or video. So like there was like a portion, so like the show focused, and the show was like very fake, obviously. But the show focused on like 5 people who were leaving the Amish community, but they were like filming them in the Amish community. So like a lot of faces were blurred. But then like you had like their parents who were on TV who like ended up talking about getting shunned. Is like the big term is like, you'll get shunned from the community. So that's where I was coming from. Is just like, I don't think they've really voted a lot before. I think it's an interesting, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think it's if they haven't under that assumption, it's an interesting decision by the Trump campaign to be like, that's votes in Pennsylvania we need. I guess it's smart, but like,
I didn't realize there were so many that it would like impact. But I guess with Pennsylvania being critical to the election, it was.
Look wherever you can.
I mean, well, and then like I feel like the Democrats. I mean, like I heard that they like reconstructed the Call Her Daddy set for like a bunch of money because she didn't want to like fly to where the Call Her Daddy films usually, so they like spent a bunch of money to like recreate the set. Like,
you could have just done it in a room.
I mean, like nobody cares. I mean, you could have just put up something on the wall. I mean, like, I feel like I would be asking for my money back if I had donated anything to any campaign ever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I feel like there's just so much money in politics that like goes to waste.
Yeah. I mean,
that is true.
I was on John Ossoff, current senator from Georgia. Democratic senator from Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
I was on his congressional campaign in 2017 as an intern when I was in high school because our old representative Tom Price was appointed to Trump's cabinet. He later had to resign for funneling money.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, that guy.
Oh, shit.
The whole thing when you pick a cabinet is like, you want to pull senators and representatives from safe districts and states where and they can win in the special election. By all accounts, it should not have been a close race. But John Ossoff walks out of the primary with 48-point-something%. Well, actually, yeah, it was not a primary, but like it was a general where it was all 19 candidates. He walks away with 48%, and then Karen Handel gets like 19% or something. So the two of them have a runoff, and it was the most expensive congressional race at the time. I think Ossoff's campaign, we ended up with like, I can't remember the exact number, but somewhere between 25 and 50 million for a congressional district.
Wow.
But and we lost in the runoff, but that meant that in 2018, Lucy McBath flipped the district to blue. Then they gerrymandered it in 2020. And 2, John Ossoff was able to be elected in 2020.
Yeah.
So for me, 1, as somebody who is an intern on his campaign, incredibly cool to have him in the Senate. 2, as a Jewish guy from Georgia, it's cool to have a Jewish guy from Georgia as my senator. And it was always like, when I grew up in Georgia, I never thought my vote was going to matter or that there was any chance of it. So it was just cool and all. And, that was kind of part of this blue shift that the metro Atlanta area saw that helped also push the state for Biden in 2020. It's turned it into a battleground state, for better or worse, to the residents still of Georgia. I don't have to watch the ads. I don't care. But going back to the congressional campaign, like, so much money. Like, so much money.
The, like, California...
They had, like, 6 offices in the district, which, like, all had these tiers of people getting paid to run the campaign.
Wow. Holy shit.
And, like, a lot of... I feel like some of the stuff, like, getting out the word about the campaign and stuff, but some of the stuff that the Kamala Harris campaign spent money on, like, I guess on, like, the celebrities and whatever, like, it's like... do we need to spend millions of dollars on celebrities to
Clearly it's not working.
Yeah, because that's not what people care about. Like, people want to go to a Beyonce concert, but I don't know that they care who Beyonce endorses for president.
And then like I see like in TikTok comment sections or whatever, people like go like, well, we have this celebrity and we like people on the left go, we have this celebrity and we have this celebrity and that's so much better than Jake Paul and Kid Rock. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't.
No.
They're a person. They're also just a person.
That is true.
And, like, there are some good people, like, I don't know, I like to believe, maybe I'm wrong, but, like, our mayor, Freddie, like, I like to believe that he is genuinely, like, a cool, smart person. And, like, I prefer my politicians to be, like, nerds, like, who, like, know, like, are very intelligent and, like, know policy in and out, as opposed to, like, being, like, a celebrity. Like, I think
Pete Buttigieg is a perfect example. I could listen to him talk about anything all day long. He is so smart.
Yeah, like, he's like a policy wonk. Like, I feel like I trust him to know in and out, like, the nuances of every issue, and like maybe he's better in a role as like an advisor, you know what I mean? But like, I feel like Trump wants to be like queen, you know what I mean? Just like a figurehead. And JD Vance, I feel like, is gonna be like the prime minister, like actually like, doing policy stuff. I'm not sure, but like Trump, I don't know. Whenever I hear him talk, he's just talking about how like whales are getting electrocuted and whatever, and I'm like, I don't know that he.
We're going to have McDonald's for the athletes.
Yeah.
They love McDonald's.
More Pizza Hut.
And maybe that, like, inspires people. I don't know. But I'm not sure. But, yeah, no, Pete Buttigieg, I feel like, but everyone is like, oh, he wouldn't win. And I'm like, I feel like, I don't know. Maybe he could. I don't know. Maybe not.
There's the question of, and I mean, with any minority running for office, is the country ready?
Well, and it's like, but he like embodies family values, like more so, and like everyone at this table would vote for him, you know. But I feel like that is something that gets brought up. But I think people see him as, I don't know, like. I feel like when I've tried to talk to my mom about it, she's like, "Oh, well, he didn't do anything as transportation secretary, and then all those trains derailed." I'm like, and all the planes were falling out of the sky. I'm like, you think he? I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid on this topic, but I'm like, what was it his fault that the Boeing planes like fell apart? I don't think so.
No, he was probably the one who was like, "Hey, on the ground, please."
Right, like.
Jeez, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. And he seems calm and reasonable and whatever. But people like him, I feel like, are that's what I gravitate toward when I look for a politician, as opposed to, like, everyone that's like, The Rock should run. I'm like...
Yeah, I saw, no, there was somebody, I've seen people say Mark Cuban.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is, I'd say an exception, because he's another person who... very similarly, very intelligent. You can tell he knows what he's talking about. I love what he does with his new drug company.
Oh,
which is like, I'm going to disrupt the marketplace because I have the money to do so. Fuck you guys. Like, he's like, I'm a little bored. Like, let's go. So...
Right. Yeah, no, I think he is a good example. Somebody, people have asked him, and he said, "Oh, he's focusing on his family and his company, Cost Plus Drugs." Yeah. But I'm like, I feel like
he's leaving Shark Tanker. Already did.
I feel like if he got the call, I feel like he would. But he is a good example of someone who he's not just like a flashy celebrity. It's not like when people are like, we should have Oprah run. I'm like, Oprah is great at what she does, but that doesn't mean that she would be a good president.
I think the same thing about Michelle Obama. Yeah. Is like Michelle Obama was a wonderful first lady. Like, and
I feel like if Michelle ran, she could very well win. Though.
Well, and she has said she does not want to, is the thing, and everyone is just like, Michelle, we want you, and she's like, I don't want to be president.
She doesn't want to deal with the shit.
Yeah. And I think, I don't blame her. I think if you get somebody like Kamala are they qualified to run?
Right.
Then if Michelle ran, you get even more.
Yeah, and probably from like different angles or the same fucking angles. I mean, who?
Well, and it's like idiotic when people are like, Dolly Parton should be president. I'm like, Dolly is amazing at what she does, but like,
she's great at being a philanthropist.
Yeah, but like,
she just donated $4.5 million somewhere.
Yeah, like, her imagination library, she's inspiring, her music, everything. Like, but, like, not everybody needs to be president. It's, like, the same as, I feel like there are a lot of people who are, like, good at their jobs, but they're not good managers. But they get, like, promoted into, like, manager positions just because they've, been there. And I'm like, not everybody needs to be president. Like...
That is true.
Just Barron Trump. He's the only...
Yeah, sure.
Also, I feel like this is now my, like, emotional support.
I noticed you go for it every kind of time.
Your fidget spinner.
Yeah, it's like, for sure, my emotional support dog.
The dragon penis home.
At least for the next 4 years.
I know, right?
Yeah, for the next 4 years.
Maybe that, I bet, it's pretty MAGA that it's like, it'd be like, that's what they, I feel like if you got somebody who was like a hardcore, like, not just like a Trump supporter, but like, like kind of in the cult, they'd be like, if you were to ask them to describe what their cock looked like, they would describe that. They'd be like, it's red, and it's big, and there are scales, and it breathes fire.
Oh my God.
And it's totally not an STD at all.
Oh my God. So I looked on
and it has no balls?
No balls.
No balls, because Hillary Clinton took them. I'm still so obsessed with her. Yeah, I looked on the Trump merch website just because I'm a curious person.
You gotta know.
My freaking browser history is horrible, but on his website it was gun owners for Trump T-shirt. I'm like, isn't that redundant? I'm like, I feel like gun owners. Are there any people for Trump who are not gun owners?
I've seen signs like that too. Virginia and I were driving from Nashville to Wisconsin, and we went through rural Illinois and rural Indiana, and we saw tons of different Trump signs. Over the fucking place.
I'd love to know what the price of a Make America Great Again hat in 2016 was versus now.
Oh
is
God.
Trump
Right?
Is Trump just saying? Is he like the Costco hot dog? Inflation proof? Is it? Is he?
It looks pretty expensive, to be honest. In all the merches, I feel like it's whatever.
I bet the price has gone up. I bet it's gone up.
Well, and I thought that he was gonna make everything free immediately. I was like, God damn it! Everyone's talking about the price of eggs, how expensive they are. I'm like, I need Comcast and Xfinity and Verizon. I need those bills to go down.
Yeah, I'm not running a bakery.
Right, I don't need that many fucking eggs, but my Verizon bill, I was like, this has to be a joke. I'm like, what am I doing on this phone that it's so expensive? I don't even call anyone. Come on. I need a Cricket phone or something. I need one of those, whatever, Mint Mobile that's $15 a month.
For those.
Yeah.
I wonder, do I need to move to one of those?
I mean,
Is
for
that,
real.
what we need to do now?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. And, health insurance on the marketplace is, so expensive. I don't know. Do you guys you have insurance through your employer?
Yeah, mine's through my company.
I have another
at the
10 months.
We'll just call it.
Yeah, I was looking.
And I, as we've discussed, have 4 different sources of income, which mean none of them provide health insurance.
And I'm hoping that they don't do away with it, because but I was looking, I'm like, the lowest monthly thing is $300 or some stupid shit. And all of the insurance companies, there's Blue Cross Blue Shield, but then all of the other ones have these Bradstall names Am Better Wellness and
What?
Yeah, it's all these names that I've never heard of. Patience with a Z, and I'm like, this is horrible. I don't even know what this covers.
Yeah, I've had it through my employer, so it's a different experience.
Yeah.
And I don't pay that much. I'll say that. But
yeah, that's ideal. That's crazy for you to work so much and to then not have employer coverage.
True.
I mean, right now I'm still at my parents'.
Yeah.
Which.
Oh.
Yeah.
How? Oh yeah, I forgot that you can.
That's what I said. I have 10 months before I'm 26.
Okay. Yeah, you're just a wee lad.
Yep,
That's
but
true.
I also know that it's based on income. So, I mean, maybe mine wouldn't be 300. That'd be a lot of money.
Yeah. Cause I had it through the government. I don't know if I told you that
I saw a post.
I quit my job. Yeah, I worked for the government for 10 years, and you know what? My feelings are hurt because the deep state never invited me to the party. I'm like, I feel like the deep state exists, and I worked for the government for so long, and I never got the call.
They never
I'm
trusted you.
Do they think I'm a snitch? I don't know what the deep state does. I just know that it is that people talk about it as though it exists. But yeah, I'm I'm in the next I'm in the chapter of my life where I'm cleaning out my apartment, trying to figure out what I want to do next.
Nice.
It was it was sort of I felt like I put in the best years of my life, and then I was ready to do something else, but I don't exactly know what that is yet. Yeah. But nothing sounds good.
Are you thinking of like using your law degree still?
Do you have a law degree?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I was a lawyer for 10 years.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what's next, and it's crazy. It's like, you know, I can live for a minute without it, but I didn't realize how much money I do spend until you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I feel like it's extremely apparent to me now how much everything costs.
Yeah.
Like I get gas, you know, once a week or whatever, and it was like, you know, when you're full-time employed and whatever, you're like, you
don't think twice.
No, you're like, yeah, of course I get gas, but I'm like, this is so much money every time, you know what I mean? So, you know, and it's like when you're working and you're like,
well, it's
I'm
a good
sad.
thing Trump's going into office, because those prices start to come down. Those gas prices start to come down, Joe.
It's going to be $1.
Sorry, you're speaking very seriously, but I interrupted, but I couldn't help myself.
You're good, dude.
You know, I honestly hope that it's true. Like, that would be great for me.
If the groceries came down, that'd be nice.
Yeah. I mean, I can see myself doing more
whatever.
A lawyer job, or doing something that is, like, uses my, like, you know, analytical thinking, but is not a lawyer job. So I'm not really sure. We'll see what happens.
Do you want to lead ghost tours? We're hiring.
Yes, that actually sounds. You know, when I was younger, I never wanted to go to law school. Don't tell my mom. This whole podcast is just me talking about my mom. No, but I wanted
We're learning
to be
a lot tonight. It's all right.
A historical reenactor. Like, I wanted to be one of those ladies that, like, churns butter at, like, you know, some sort of, like, historical house, and, like, where, you know, I could still do that.
Yeah,
I guess.
You could do that in, like, Benjamin Franklin's home or something, dude.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Move up to fucking Philadelphia or something.
Yeah. It was like, I graduated from college in 2008, which was like the economic crash.
Yeah, I heard that was a great time to leave college.
Yeah. So there were like no jobs. I worked at a nursing home and at a law firm. Our phone number was 1-800-BAD-DRUG. And I would review, our class action was like colonoscopies gone wrong. And so I would like look at pictures of people's colons all day, like ripped up colons. So anyways, so then I went to law school because I was like, there's nothing else to do. But then I was like, I don't like this.
What kind of law did you do?
Contracts mostly. So like, and I like reviewing contracts. I like drafting contracts because, you know, I feel like it's like a lot of like writing and like just making sure things are clear, you know, clear expectations, whatever. I mean, I am not like a litigator. Like, I don't like arguing at all.
I was going to say, like, when you said lawyer, just because like when I was going to go to law school, I was thinking family law or like criminal defense, which is both like heavy litigation. I was like, what kind of law would Joe do?
Yeah.
Dude,
well, so like I wanted to be a public defender so badly, and like
I could see that, dog.
I like interned, and I was like, I want to help people. I like interned in the like juvenile public defender's office, which is like, you ever seen like a kid in jail? You're like, oh my god, like in detention. You're like, oh my god.
Go for it, dog.
But like that was what I wanted to do. But then after my internship, I like applied, and it was like I had the like blazer with the shoulder pads and you know whatever, like and they were like, you're like too nice. They were like, we need like people with a little bit of scrappiness in them. They're like, you're kind of just like, here's my case, I hope you like it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, I understand. I can see you as a lawyer, but I also don't wish that upon anybody.
I had always been interested in politics. My mom's dad, who I'm named after, was he worked for the DOJ.
Oh.
And lost
That's awesome.
lost one case in his whole career, and it was because of a fixed jury.
Oh my God.
And I mean, smart guy too. He went to Stanford.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was always a little bit in my blood, and my name. And I had always been interested in politics. I remember like being really excited when Obama won in 2008, and I like kind of, even though I was so young, understood the gravity.
Yeah.
Because my mom had, from a very young age, taught me about Martin Luther King, and like I had a picture book called I Have a Dream, and it took, explained that whole thing. And then growing up in Atlanta, the heart of the civil rights movement, and also the Confederacy, that like I kind of was able to appreciate it. And then I remember watching the debates in 2012. In 2016, I was like, well, this is different. And then I was like, fuck, what do I do when I go to college? What do I study? So I knew I wanted to study political science because I found that interesting. I was like, oh, you could be a lawyer with that. And then I did a gap year after high school where I lived in Portland, Oregon for a year. And
Cool.
I had 3 different internships with social justice organizations, like nonprofits. And one of them was it was called the Criminal Justice Reform Clinic at Lewis and Clark's Law School. And it worked in conjunction with the Public Defender's Office. So, 2 lawyers. One of them was my supervisor, a bunch of law students, and me worked at this legal clinic, and I had the most amazing experiences. And it allowed me to delude myself enough that I actually wanted to be a lawyer to get myself through college, because I always had a very hard time in school and was never able to apply myself, and I did more in college, but still not to the level that I could. But that I loved that internship, and I will always love that internship, and I love that it I did want to be a lawyer. It's not I still don't have that passion. I still like politics and find them interesting, less so now just after studying politics for 4 years in the climate that I was. And I still find looking at a criminal case very fascinating, and or just this morality argument of, should somebody be in prison because they killed somebody forever? Should the death, so yeah, very nice. It was a very good experience.
Yeah, I
That's
can
sick,
see you
dude.
doing that. Yeah, because you're very intelligent, and I feel
Thank
you have I don't know. I kind of feel to be a lawyer in social justice, you have to also just care about people. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's true.
But I feel you can very easily get, I don't know, burnt out or whatever. I wanted to work for the government because I wanted to help people. You know what I mean? And you see, I think the good thing about working for the government was I saw everyone that's there is also
Right.
that's nobody's I want to work for the government because I want to make a ton of money, especially state government. So it's you see how many people truly just care about, but it's hard because you can't always achieve,
Yeah.
your ends.
Yeah, when I was on that internship, I had a very, I think what every young aspiring lawyer feel I'm gonna change the world.
Yeah, that's what I
and I felt that, and it was a good feeling, and then I, with conversations with my therapist, and then my favorite professor in college, Adam Lamparello. Thank you. He after our first semester, he was like, "Man, Micah, you'd be a really good lawyer." I was like, "Thank you so much." And then after our second semester together, you'd be a great lawyer, and you'd be miserable. And I was like, he's like, you, and a lot of my professors were always very supportive of me doing stand-up, but he was the one, he's like, you need to do it. So between him, my therapist, and then Evan suggesting I come up to Nashville, he was a professor who was just like, go for it.
Evan Wall?
No, Burke, but
I love Evan Burke.
But my professor was
too.
he was like, you need to go for it.
How did you know Evan?
He was my camp counselor 17 years ago in Atlanta.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, you can impact individuals, but you can't change the system,
Right.
which I think is, like, what gets frustrating. Like, because even, like, working in the public defender's office, it's, like, I think a lot of people, if you care so much, it's, like, hard to see, you know, that it's always, I don't know, that there's always just going to be challenges. But I would love to write for, like, I don't know, Daily Show or something. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to write, like, political stuff. I don't know.
You would be really good at that, for sure.
But I'm like, well, does anyone want, like, an intern in her 30s? I was, like, looking up, like, internships, and they're all like, you can get college credit. And I'm like, could I just get life credit? I'm like, what do I do? Do I just, like, tweet at Bill Maher? Hey.
That's true.
Hey, Bill Maher. Do you need a research associate? I don't know. Micah, what do you want to, do you want to be like a traveling stand-up, or do you know what you want to do?
That's my goal, is to make a living doing comedy. Whether that means I'm making my living writing for a show like SNL or Late Night or whatever, and then I get to go do stand-up.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, whatever allows me to do stand-up as much as possible, ideally letting, comedy being what pays my bills.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I can see you doing both, like, writing, and then also I feel like you have, like, such a funny, like, performing style.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like the whole world is ahead of you. You're young.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, it's like, it's interesting. There's so many avenues that you can go down with comedy, but
There's a lot, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I've even been, like, thinking, like, do I start my own tour company at some point? Because, I lead ghost tours and haunted pub crawls. I don't scare them one bit. I am making them laugh, and that is how I entertain them. And my boss is encouraging of that, and he, like, all of the 5-star reviews I get are never like, man, it was so spooky scary.
Right.
They're all like, it was funny, and it feels so good to, like, hear that, and, like, that be the reason that because, like, I hear them talk about their tours, like other, like, some people, like, really love ghost tours. Like, oh, I went on one in New Orleans, I went on, this one up in Boston. So I know that, like, these tours, and I remember ghost tours I went on when I was younger or in college. So I know that these tours can be a memorable part of somebody's vacation.
Yeah.
And it feels very good to make it memorable.
Yeah, because people want to be entertained, and even if it's like stand-up is a very specific, thing, but I feel like even, like, I can see you doing, like, a Weekend Update type thing, or, like, I feel like just entertaining in whatever capacity you're working in.
I just, like, I mean, even at, like, the bar, at when I'm behind the bar, like, I'm, talking with guests and, like, making them laugh, and that's really, like, that's what I want to do. That's, like, from a very young age, I've just been like, okay, I like to make people laugh. That feels good.
That's cool. Well, you're doing it.
A great
so,
bartender, especially when I go there and you're there.
Thank you.
We love Grandpa Bar.
We do.
Also,
Yes.
come on November 23rd for burlesque and comedy.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Fuck yeah.
I'm not going to be doing burlesque. I don't know why I did that.
But how many burlesque dancers do you have for that one?
There will be 4 burlesque performers. Yeah. And then some comedy. But it's like, I love Grandpa Bar because they have so much, especially, like, it seems like recently there's so many different events. Like, I really want to go to the, like, writers' night.
Oh, Sundays can get so busy.
Yeah.
Sunday nights when they do those, it is really, really great in there.
Because I go usually to Greenlight open mic on Sundays, but I saw that
your comedy is a type of comedy that I think would be, like, really welcome there. It'd be, like, very high energy for what that room normally is, but, like, different than, like, I mean, other people in our scene, that comedy would just not fly, like, at a creative writing open mic.
Is it like poetry and storytelling and like?
Yeah. Yep.
I love a variety show type thing. Like, I mean, like
spoken word.
Yeah,
the variety shows are always fun.
Yeah, because I love stand-up. Like, I could watch stand-up for hours. Like, I love going. Even if I don't go up, I love going, But I feel like it's fun to have, like, a mix of, like, music and poetry and storytelling and, like, different styles of stuff. I feel like it mixes it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and...
and improv.
No, in college, because I've done stand-up, like, the first time I did it was middle school, but... in college it was at one bar on Mondays it would be like bands who go up for like 45 minutes and then I'd be like, I just have 5 minutes of jokes to tell, please. And then the second play, that was my junior year. My senior year, the coffee shop like reopened their mic after COVID, and I was the only comic. So it was like musician, poetry, musician, Micah, musician, and it was like, it worked a lot in my favor, and it also, like, didn't. Like, it was...
Yeah.
And I wish, I was getting up once a month there, and I wish I could, like, go back in front of that crowd with the experience I have now to see, like, how I could really, like, handle... I mean, I'd handle it just like I handle any crowd here, but... I want to go... I'm talking about with, like, Evan and a couple other comics going back to Milledgeville, like, in the winter or spring... and doing like because I think we could fit 50 people in that room. So like sell like $5-10 tickets in my college town and go back and do a show.
That would be fun. Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be hard, I think, to follow poetry. Like, I think it's easier if it's like music or whatever, because poetry, I think, can be very vulnerable, and like sometimes people are talking about their trauma and whatever, and so like I think it's a very hard tone shift. Yeah, for sure. But I feel like if it's like a storytelling event, a creative writing type of thing, you can have it's easier flow.
Well, that and like for me personally, the type of comedy I do and try to do. I mean, right now I'm just trying to like get good at jokes, but also like I'm trying to storytell.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that the tours have helped me get really good at is constructing a story with like one thing I like that I've done with all, because my company gave me the facts, and then I've over time developed how I tell them, and I don't know how intentional it was, but like I'm able to tie so many of my stories back to something I said at the beginning, which like I love a good callback. I love closing the loop. So corporate.
You would be good at, have you done the 10x9 storytelling?
No, but I think I know about it.
I've done it a couple of times, and like I kind of struggle, to be honest, with like beginning, middle, end in a story. Like, I kind of like to just have like a free flowing sort of like we're being silly, whatever. Yeah. But like, I feel like you would be good at that, because I feel like comics do well because not all of the stories are like funny. So then I think the audience appreciates appreciates when someone does like a more humorous story, and if you can do like a well constructed story. But I've always struggled with like a beginning and a middle and an end. I'm like, I don't know. I have a hard time. I feel like there's
is a stand-up skill that I'm just not. I want to do it, but like, damn.
Well, like even like so.
There's so many pieces too. I did like a workshop a while, like, probably 3 years ago with a girl that's not really in our scene, Sydney Davis.
Oh
Junior,
yeah, I've heard her name. Yeah.
Yeah. She did a show, or she was doing a storytelling workshop, and me and Brandon Gerald went at Third Coast. This was like 2021, I think, but it's something I want to do though eventually.
Yeah, I mean one of my favorite comics, and somebody I'm going to see at the Ryman next month, is Mike Birbiglia.
Oh, awesome.
And like that's really so like him and Gary Goldman are like those are my two.
Yeah.
And
Gary Goldman's fun.
But so like, and then another like great iconic story in stand up is Bert Kreischer's The Machine.
Of course.
And There's one podcast I listen to called Working It Out with Mike Birbiglia, where they talk about like building, like working on stuff, and then there's another one called, I can't think of it, but it's a Vulture podcast about a good one. It's called Good One, where they talk about how they built a routine. So Bert Kreischer's talked about the machine on Good One, and then he talked about it on Birbiglia's podcast, and he was talking. One thing they said was like, for comedians who want to do stories. Well, I submitted a question. I was like, how do you work on a big, large story when you're only given 4 minutes at a mic? And he answered it on the podcast.
Oh, my God.
I DM'd it to him. I don't know if he saw it, but I asked the question and he answered it, so I can only assume it was mine.
Oh, that's fun.
But then he and Bert Kreischer were talking about, like, to do a story, like, you gotta tell the story, you still need jokes. Like, which is why, like, and Bert Kreischer was saying, like, you gotta get good, to do these big stories. You gotta be a good stand-up. You gotta get good at hosting. You gotta be able to read a room. You gotta get good at writing jokes. You gotta be able to do like crowd work. You gotta be able to do it all. And so like as much as I'm trying to work on stories, like when I have a good joke, I'm like, thank God I'm writing good jokes.
Right. Well, and with stories, I feel like being able to, like, edit it so there's not a lot of, like, especially, like, in a stand-up set, so that there's not, like, a drawn-out period of time where there are no laughs, I feel like is hard to do,
well, but then I've also heard Pat and Oswald talk about that can be part of the misdirection, which is, like, if, because in his special, he was talking about his wife dying suddenly, having to tell his daughter. And there's like a very long period of time where he's telling a very sad thing that happened, and you're just sitting there listening, and then he gives you a punchline, and you're not expecting it because he's gone on so long about this awful thing.
Yeah.
And that one hit just like...
Yes, and then so he's like, that could be part of the misdirection too.
Because of the tension and then the release of the tension in that moment. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I feel like definitely. I love how many different styles of comedy there are, because I feel like there are certain people that are just like sort of observational, and it's like, it's not like they're doing joke. Like a Cody Marley does like joke, right? Like, but there are some people who are just like funny observation, you know what I mean? Like, but it doesn't really, I guess, land on something, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
Like, feels like comedy's a lot more experimental now too. You've got like guys like a lot of the Kill Tony folks. I have no idea what that was, but we'll find out soon enough. But
maybe it was a message.
We'll be right back.
Is Grandma watching?
I have no idea if Grandma's watching. I need to actually look at the comments and see.
Oh, you said you were watching Kill Tony.
Yeah, like well, all those guys on Kill Tony, they're some of them, they're just like oddities in a way, right? Like
sure.
The Casey Rocket guy. And
Cam Patterson.
Cam Patterson, I like Cam though. Like he fucking rips.
Yeah.
But they're all just very different stand-ups doing their thing.
It's hard with that like short, or I guess with that short of a period of time, like I would definitely be intentional about what I'm doing. Okay. Whereas, like, if you were doing a 20-minute set, you have a little more breathing room.
Right, but then I also wonder, like, can you watch Casey Rocket for 20 minutes?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know, dude.
Like, there's a reason it works in a minute.
Right.
I feel differently, but I could watch Cam Patterson talk all day.
Yeah, Cam's hilarious.
But, like, Casey, I'm like every time that minute's up when I was watching Kill Tony in May, I was like... And that was enough.
Yeah, it was like,
it was entertaining,
that,
and that was enough.
Done. Yeah.
And Will Montgomery.
Yeah,
he's an intro. The redheaded.
Yeah, the redheaded.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Madman or whatever. Yeah. What is it that they call him? Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my God, I saw Adam Ray at Zany's. He was there on New Material Monday, and like. I've been a huge fan of his forever, so it was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's here. He is so good at impressions. I feel like I am not, and so like, I mean, his Dr. Phil obviously, but like he did a few others that I'm like,
Dr. Phil.
I feel like that is like another like if you can pepper that into your comedy, I feel like that is amazing. Like especially if you do political comedy and then you can like, you know, except for I feel like nobody wants to hear the Trump impersonation anymore.
Yeah.
No, it's
like.
I've heard them all.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
right.
like Shane Gillis. I feel like is. I mean, the guy who's doing it now, James Austin.
Johnson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is amazing at it. But when Shane Gillis was on and he did the sneaker sketch, that was like really funny.
Alec Baldwin's was really good.
Oh, yeah.
During there was a guy who did it on, and it was like not any really big celebrity, but the Comedy Central had a show in like 2017 called The President Show.
Oh, yeah.
That was really good, and my stepdad and I will still quote a segment they had from it where it would just be Trump this guy doing arbitrarily like given like topics or just like things, and he'd go, nice, not nice.
Yeah. I feel like you have to.
My stepdad will still go, not nice.
You have to, like, that is unique or different than just doing, you know, him. I feel like
It was very funny, that show. It was like, yeah.
Do we have?
Well, Grandma's made some comments.
Oh man, Grandma.
And Rev has stepped in there and said some comments. So there you go. Hey, Grandma. Hello.
He said Dylan is still there. Dildo.
Yeah, I think he meant the dildo.
This is my dildo.
Yes.
This is my emotional support dildo. This is truly, I feel like this is like my weighted blanket. Like this, I need this.
I sleep with a weighted blanket. It's amazing.
It's a PED. It's a post-election dildo.
The weight of the world is upon me. That is so funny. Have you been to the Zanies open mic yet?
No, I have not gone. Have you guys?
Me either. I've been. It's like the same thing I was saying about the Eastern. Like I can't sacrifice a chance at going up for a guaranteed paid tour.
I see.
So hopefully soon.
I've gone, but I'm working up the nerve to put my name in the bucket.
You haven't.
Yeah, but I have gone. So Will Abels has his Buds and Brews, which is like a great show on Wednesday.
He's
So
doing at the Weed Restaurant in East Nashville.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's a nice setup there. He had a good lineup tonight. But I've gone the last couple of Wednesdays there, and then Drew's Mike at the pig place. Oh no, that's Thursdays. I don't even know what day it is anymore. I feel like time has no meaning. But yeah, do you?
We're just gonna keep rolling. I have no idea.
I don't know.
The computer's made some noises. I don't know if the mic's picked it up or not.
I don't know, but people of the podcast universe, come out to Cobra on Monday nights to the new open mic. I love Cobra. I love going to shows there. Like, I feel like it's just like a rad time.
Are you doing it in the front bar?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, and you know, we had like people were there like hanging out, like audience members last time. You know, because you know, people on a Monday night, they want to just hang out and listen to some jokes. You know, so. Yeah. So I think, you know, I don't know how other scenes are, but I like that in Nashville you can go somewhere any night, like except
it was a little bleak there for a second, but we've recovered.
True.
It was a little bleak. It was, but now we're good.
Now you can go to multiple in one night.
Yeah, call us Austin, baby.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So what do we have now? There's green lights on Sundays.
Green lights on Sundays. You have Cobra and Third Coast on Monday. You have Love and Exile, East Room, Bobby's on Tuesday.
Okay.
I know you have Zanies on Wednesday, and I think others.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Why Not Saloon is the clean mic, and then I think Thursday.
Oh, is there not one at like a smoke shop on Wednesdays? I know on Thursdays
Pressure.
now. Well, I think doesn't Pressure have
Chris.
2 a week? Like, because I know on Thursdays now it's going to be Evans, mine, and Chris is at Pressure.
Yeah, and then Fridays is Grandpa and Holistic.
Yes.
And then I feel like every night, pretty much Zanies has something. Like I got free tickets to Zanies last night to see Joe Zimmerman.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
how was that?
It was so good. It was so funny because he's sort of he's like my style of humor. But I love now that the lab that they can do multiple shows in one night.
Right.
But like I always get like free or $5 tickets. Like I feel like they all the time have deals.
All the time
like
too. There's some that I've wanted to like jump on, and
yeah.
some I'm like I don't know who they are.
I'll do that all the time. Is I'll get their little deals, and then I'm like, dude. Yeah. Like a $5 ticket to go see like a touring comic is like really good.
Where are these deals? I've not been told.
You have to be on their email list, and then they'll send out. And I think it's oftentimes when they haven't sold out, and so like the day of, they're like, "Does anybody want like a cheap ticket?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I do."
Exactly.
But then you still have to do the $2.
Yeah. So the thing is, I still don't know that I'd go.
Yeah, that's the problem is you still have to do the 2-drink minimum, so it ends up being,
Unless you
just you end up
really shaft
money,
them and go,
always.
2 bottles of water, please.
I'm not above it.
No,
I am not above
like,
that at all.
That's
I went on Halloween, and I was by myself, and the waiter definitely, like, I feel like he knew. He looked at the sadness in my eyes of being alone at a comedy show on Halloween, and he was like, I'm not going to try. I was like, you don't get it.
Can I get you something?
He was like, you're fine. And I was like, thank you, sir. What are you supposed to do on Halloween if you don't have kids or like a partner? You know what I mean?
True.
I was like, I'm too old to go to parties. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
You could go on a ghost tour.
I could go on.
Go
you know
on a
what?
ghost
I think we
tour.
should go on one of your ghost tours, like for real. I think like
I would do
we
it.
should make
sure.
it. We should make an evening of it.
I mean, we have we
The thing
have
is, like,
our
my-
portable 4K camera. We could
The
make it a
thing is,
whole
my
thing.
boss wouldn't charge you guys.
Oh,
I would love to go. We should go
All
before it
right.
gets cold. I think it would be so fun.
All right, we might just.
Is
fucking
it
do
I
that.
could, like-
downtown?
We start at the Capitol, and then we end in Printers Alley, and I could legitimately
cool.
like pick a night. It would be like, this Tuesday at 8, and then just whoever doesn't wants to
Yeah.
come and like sacrifice a mic that night.
That would be
Is
awesome.
it what do we walk the tour? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Hell
like
yeah.
I mean, we bill it at 90 minutes. I do mine a lot closer to like 65 to 75 minutes. Because
That's fun.
I don't need to keep them for 90 minutes. And nobody's ever been like, man, that tour was too short. They'd
90
be like,
minutes
they're like,
is
we
a
were
long
sufficiently
time.
entertained.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there'd
hell
be
yeah.
guides who went over.
Really?
I would always love to err on the side of less. Like with
Yes.
movies, I'm like, I can do a 90-minute movie. I don't need this
Right.
whole 3.5 hour long. I'm like,
Epic
I'll pay the
fucking-
same amount of money to just do it for a normal amount of
Yeah.
time, please.
No, I mean, yeah. Bottom line was like my boss telling me, he's like, it doesn't matter if you keep them for 60 minutes. It doesn't matter if you scare them. As long as they are entertained,
Right.
they're not gonna care. They're really not.
Okay.
No,
Hell
yeah.
yeah, dude.
'Cause
That's a good boss.
Yeah, that sounds so fun. And I feel like, yeah, that would be like a good group activity. And you would still get paid, right? You don't get paid per person?
No, I would get my like flat rate of 50 per tour, and then I'd work off of tips otherwise.
Oh, cool.
Nice, dude. Well, dude, we're definitely gonna fucking
That sounds fun.
talk
Yeah.
soon about going on that tour because I want to do it.
Because I feel like you also kind of have to, as much as like, I'll go to a mic every night if it's available, you have to kind of live your life also to like
Yeah.
even have anything to say at a mic.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
That's true.
you can't just like, if you're only with the same people at mics
If
every
all you're
single
doing
night.
every night of the week is doing comedy, then, like, what are you going to talk about?
You're like, here's
Right,
a story.
And I've gotten
the same
so
stuff.
many jokes from these tours.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of them at the
Yeah,
at
just,
mics
like,
that are
I mean,
good.
like, and then some, like, well, the ghost tours I like those are, like, legitimate, like, I kind of, you know, manipulated them into jokes. But there's one I tell from, it was a conversation I had with a woman on a pub crawl, and we were talking about I was named after my grandpa, so I was sitting with this woman, and I was telling her, I'm named after my grandpa, and she goes, you mentioned your grandpa was Jewish. Are you also Jewish? And I was like, I did not say he was Jewish. I mentioned his name was Boris Silverstein. And she's like, I feel like we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, I like that one.
Like that's, I mean, the
Yeah.
only part that is not true is when I say I feel like we're saying the same. No, she even said something like, is that not?
Oh.
So like, I really like getting to go up there and just kind of tell a conversation as it happened. Like the other day, this is what I'm gonna take on stage soon. The other day at the bar I was working, like it was a Friday, like right before we opened, I was doing coffee, and this guy from the fire department comes in. He's like, it's attached to an apartment complex. He's like, is like this the actual office building for the apartments? And I was like, sir, this is a bar. Like I looked around, I was like, this is what?
Yeah.
What kind of...
Like you ever
It
asked?
is like very obviously like also like the decor and everything is like very much like a bar.
Like, do you ever get like asked a question? You're like, no matter how I answer this, I'm gonna sound like a jackass.
Yeah, because some questions are just too stupid. Like, and I have been a person asking a stupid question
Of
before.
course,
Like, let
me
me
too,
tell
I'm
you
not-
what. Like,
Because like, what do I mean, I can't also be like, I couldn't have been like, yep, you found it.
right.
Like,
I feel like Grandpa Bar has like very much like a secret society like feel to it,
does
or
have
something.
a look to it
like
that, yeah.
you guys aren't allowed to come to the mic anymore.
Like there could be like haunted. Like I feel like there's like one thing that's like up on like a case that I'm like I feel like if I open this drawer like it's gonna be like an Indiana Jones situation. Like
Just
I don't. Yeah.
don't ever go into the utility closet and move the refrigerator.
I will never go into
I'm
that
I'm
closet.
joking.
I
I'm
will
joking.
never even look at it. I'm
Listen,
joking.
like,
there's
I
no
grew-
secret door behind the refrigerator.
I like absolutely grew up on like Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew and all of that. So like my dream is to get into like a mystery. You know what I mean? Like anytime
Well,
I see
have
anything,
you-
I'm like, let me.
Have you ever been to Alley Taps?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so can you picture like towards the back, there's a big bookshelf.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what Alley Taps used to be?
A whorehouse?
No, there are. It was near the brothels. Alley Taps was a publishing house, publishing Bibles, and in the back was a gin and whiskey distillery. And
like
that
the
book,
Prohibition.
correct. And that bookshelf was the entrance to the distillery.
Oh. See, yeah, I feel like there are all kinds of like little secrets, you know?
That's wild, dude.
I know so much about Printer's Alley.
Printer's Alley for sure has some like lore to it, especially I feel like because like Skulls is there.
Skulls that's one of our stops. That's haunted.
And like I feel like because there's
Really?
like that
Yep.
like balcony area that's kind of it looks like a New Orleans balcony. I'm always like I wonder what used to be there. I feel like there used to definitely be brothels for sure.
Oh yes, so that whole street parallel to Printer's Alley, not Third Ave on the other side, but the other side. I can't remember what it's called. That might just be Fourth Ave, but it used to be called Cherry Street because it was the old red light
Okay.
district. Cherry, red light, other reasons.
Holy shit.
Did you guys watch Boardwalk Empire?
No,
Ever?
I did not.
It was sort of like Prohibition era, like a lot of that sort of, whorehouse. I love calling it a whorehouse.
Yeah,
I'm
like
sure
a
that
brothel.
that's maybe not the politically correct
hoe
term for
house.
it, but
One of the brothels on Cherry Street is called. The biggest one was called the Southern Turf.
Okay.
But there was one called, and this was where that prostitute I was telling you about worked, called the Climax Saloon.
Oh, huh. They got right to the point.
And then there was one. There was one point where I had like a couple on my tour, and they're like, "Was that a term back then? like in the 1880s. Like, does that not sound like
Climax.
Old English? Like, oh, I'm about at my climax now. I'm approaching my
At
climax.
the climax.
We're getting close to the climax of this coitus.
I can't climax
We're
without
getting
a
close to my
creature cock.
climax.
Oh God.
My love, are you climaxing?
That does sound like a more modern term.
Right, doesn't it?
I guess
It does.
I feel
Like,
like
you want to know how crazy it was for me to learn, like, nut has been around forever?
interesting.
Really?
Yeah,
There are some terms where I'm just like, my parents were saying that?
I feel like Victorian.
Really?
What were they saying
for
in
them.
Victorian times? She's ripening on the vine.
Was that waiting for a woman to become of age?
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Awesome.
I do
Awesome,
feel like,
Joe.
I do feel like back then they were like, ooh, she's 14. Can't wait for her to be 15.
Our new Attorney General.
Oh my God, Matt Gaetz. The gates of hell.
I don't know that it'll get confirmed.
Yeah.
You gotta think there are enough. 4? I think they need Republican senators to be like, if we're the party of protecting children, if that's what we've been
Right.
running on for 4 years, like,
You would
the Democrats
think.
are eating the babies. The trans people are blah, 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 blah. Okay? Then you better kick this guy the fuck out.
How is he still around? Like, what does he have on other people that have made them, like, want to keep him? Like, I don't see how does he serve Trump's agenda?
That's why,
by being the
that's what I
Attorney
was thinking
General?
about with when Brett Kavanaugh was being appointed.
Yeah.
I remember there was like some pundit who mentioned that they had like 25 they could pick from, and it didn't matter to them.
Yeah.
He was like, you could have thrown in a dart at like a board of names, and any of them would have been fine. But then I think what happened was the scandal, the allegations come out, and they're like, now we're dying on this hill.
Yeah, because, like, he's sort of like
They could have jumped ship at any time and just put
toast person who could be filled. Like,
just they wanted a conservative. Like he's really not, like, as far as conservative justices
like,
go. He's no Clarence Thomas.
middle of the road.
Right,
like,
he's very just generic conservative. So they could have easily pulled him at any point. But
they were
then sexual assault allegations come out against him, and they're like, no, we are. Which, like, I don't know why that's the stance that the right kind of took with sexual assault. Is like being on the other side of cancel culture. Is like, yeah, but some people did it. Like, cancel culture has gotten out of hands, but some people do bad things.
Some people do.
Yeah,
and
some
they
people
have to-
should be,
and be
like,
held accountable.
Matt Gaetz should be canceled. I mean, I heard or read something that, like, he was picked because he'll go after Trump's enemies or something, and I'm like, I don't see the picture. I don't see the vision here. Like,
what about our
trash.
Like, what about us? Like, what about the people?
What about the people of
Yeah,
America?
like, what do you mean Trump's enemies, huh?
I mean,
He's the president of the United States. Does he mean us? Like, the enemy?
Well, and, like,
Yeah,
Matt
does he
Gaetz
think
doesn't
we-
seem particularly, like, intelligent or interesting. He seems like a douchebag. Like,
yeah.
so I'm not really sure what he, like, brings to the table.
Right, and
I'm
Trump
curious to
selected
see,
some other,
like,
very interesting characters, right?
yeah, like, I can kind of
Yeah.
see why
This cabinet,
he would.
I'm begging for his cabinet of 2016. They seem like a dream team right now. Don't
Right.
they? Like, does it? Oh, please, Rex Tillerson, CEO of ExxonMobil, please be like, please be our Secretary of State. Why am I saying that? Like, what?
Little Marco, and it is crazy.
Or
I
like
feel
Mitt
like,
Romney looks like a
oh my
hero.
God, yeah.
Dude, yes.
I mean, it's
Oh
like,
my
what is-
gosh.
Please bring me back George Bush. I'll give him a third term. Like, what,
Yeah,
like,
dude, at this point.
I love that George Bush was like, I'm staying out of it. He was like,
he's like,
bitch,
I paint. Haven't you heard? I paint.
he's like, I'm retired. Bitch, don't drag me into your mess. I was only a president. I don't care about this anymore. And even, like, fucking Dick and Liz Cheney were out there banging the drum. Like, you know things have gotten bad when you're like, I am siding with Dick Cheney on this. I don't know.
God.
It has been a wild ride. I'm glad that the election the only thing I will say is I'm glad that the election was decided and we're done with it, and that it wasn't like a drawn out.
It could have gotten real bad if Kamala won and then Trump and that's almost when I was watching an election and I was like, oh, we haven't heard from him. He feels good. I was that's the biggest sign that he didn't claim victory early.
Mm-hmm. The if we would have had hanging chads and a January 6th and a this and a that,
or on January 3rd with the new if they were to not certify, or if Trump goes to the courts to get ballots nullified, it could have gotten really, really ugly. And I don't know that I can't say that a Trump victory is the best outcome, but perhaps safer. Physically. Right.
Well, and at least she, conceded, and it was, it was indeed, a peaceful, I guess, and I know that
still hasn't conceded 2020s.
I mean, I guess we'll see. Maybe all of the liberals will show up on January 6th and do spoken word poetry in the streets. I mean, I don't know.
One thing I can say in looking at both sides is, one, we feel the same way about each other. They have no policy. They're going to ruin democracy. But one thing I've seen from people on the left is they're doing the same thing that people on the right did in 2020, which is, this is also part of some plan. They're going to... Mm-hmm. And, I think the Kamala truthers are, they're calling them...
The Kamala truthers?
Well, they're just no, I don't believe it. There's no way it happened. Something's off. She's got something planned. She's a prosecutor. She holds her cards close to her chest. I'm like,
she's done.
She lost, and that sucks. And it's fine. But it's over.
There are crazy people on both sides. I will say that I've seen a couple of people that are astrologists have said that this isn't over, that there's more in the planetary alignment. And I'm like, stop it. I'm like, please. I'm like, let's not be embarrassing. Let's not add to the embarrassment of it. We lost. Let's move on and not add astrology into this mix.
Right.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
We can get through
on the
this.
Record.
Hopefully, dog. I don't know. I'm thinking of evacuation plans. I'm thinking of...
I think you're right that because he won, though, I feel like there's going to be less of a chance of, political violence and upheaval.
True. That is true. I don't think
we very well, if she won, could have had a second January 6th on our hands.
Maybe they'll all meet up, just the old gang get together and sing their January 6th choir songs. So the January 6th insurrectionists who went to jail started a choir in prison and
Well, I just saw that for the last 800 days apparently they've been meeting outside this prison of where a lot of January 6th people are, and they're hoping for. I mean, Trump's probably going to pardon them.
You can listen to it on Spotify, and let me tell you what, they're not good. That was the worst part.
Really?
That was the worst part of it. I thought that they were gonna be a beautiful and harmonious, the we are the world, but it was whatever. It was some tired old dusty, whatever. God bless America, and I'm like, you couldn't even be more fucking creative than God bless America.
Oh God, no!
Come on, insurrectionists! Yeah. You had all that time in prison, and you couldn't come up with a better song. You could have come up with an original IP.
Do you guys think the QAnon Shaman the Viking guy is gonna come out and start a podcast? He has to.
Probably.
If
I'm surprised
if Hawk Tua
in prison
gets a podcast,
girl gets
she's
one.
gonna.
Oh my god.
He's gonna get.
Anybody
Although,
can.
first of all, I would like to say her podcast name Talk to very, very clever.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Very
I don't
clever.
Have anything.
And I think she's actually I haven't watched it, but what I've seen people kind of say on the internet is she's very endearing and having a good podcast. So good for her.
She seems sweet. I have no issue with her specifically. I feel in terms of what we as a society deem comedy is there's a very interesting. That was a very interesting moment.
That happened on our streets.
That's true.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll say between her and then Trump filleting the microphone.
Well,
I'm I've learned a lot this year. It's been an educational season for me.
I don't think he practiced correct form based off of what she said.
He was just like...
He didn't spit on that thing.
No, Trump did not spit on that thing. He wasn't listening.
He's got to get better if he's going to...
I know.
I don't know.
He just needs this.
I think he needs that too.
The demon rising.
The MAGA dick.
President Trump, I bequeath
I hope he
this.
has one stuffed inside
I
of him
bequeath this
right
to
now.
you.
Maybe
It would be
Biden gave
great.
him one today.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe he'll leave it with his letter that he leaves. That the president's.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Right.
That's
There you
cute.
go, buddy.
I've
That's
used this for the
cute.
last 4 years, and I'm leaving it to you, Donald.
I believe in America.
Actually, I'm going to come in and put it inside of you when you're asleep.
Just an America butt plug. Anyways. That's about all I have to offer.
Yeah, that was, well, you know, dog.
That was a very different podcast than when I was here with Rev and John.
I know. And it's funny because I did even say in the beginning, I was like, yeah, we need to get political tonight, too. Because it was the election last
Yeah, and
week,
I mean,
so-
Joe's very
The
political. I
election-
studied poli-sci.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Former lawyer, former wannabe lawyer.
You could totally be a lawyer. I feel like if Kim Kardashian, did she even go to law school or she just like took the bar?
I have some
in
interesting
California?
papers I wrote in college you could read.
About Kim Kardashian.
Yes. No, I wrote one on George Carlin on government and religion,
Oh,
examining
cool.
the death penalty, abortion, and the sanctity of life. I wrote one in high school about political satire in the wake of Trump. You would like the ones I wrote for my Conn law class, just like the argument ones.
I feel like it would be interesting to see like a retrospective on humor in the 2024 election, like even like leading up to Tony.
Oh my God, crazy!
I feel like the role that humor played in the way that people perceived Kamala's like joy.
Well, yeah, she had a massive TikTok campaign with memes, which are just jokes online.
And people saw it as inauthentic as opposed to like, I feel like, and then with Tony, a lot of people were not familiar with him, and so they were like, how dare him
it was
do
funny to
what
see
Tony
him.
does.
Well, no, yeah, it was funny it was also funny to keep seeing him called like Trump rally comedian, and I'm like,
Right.
His name's Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, what do we do?
Yeah, no, I had a lot of friends who were like, I don't know who this guy is. I'm like, how do you not know who this man is? Like, I feel like he's everywhere
It's
in
very
my life.
interesting to like
Dude,
find.
like-
It's always interesting
Well-
to see where comedians actually fit. Like, cause like everybody knows Mulaney. You know what I mean? Like, but like.
Right. Like on like political podcasts, I feel like I kept hearing people refer to like Theo Vaughn as just some podcaster.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's not just some podcaster.
He was on The Real World.
I'm like, he's Theo Vaughn. I mean, like, it was very interesting. And then, and I feel like I would say, I mean, Tony's set was not, I didn't think it was good. I didn't think his jokes were good.
No,
However, I
I've
feel
seen
like
him
he
do
was
a lot.
doing.
No, what he did at Brady, the Brady roast was
Right.
murder.
Right.
Murder. Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
he's-
His joke for Sam J,
Oh
like,
my God.
took me out.
Like, he's better than I think that was represented in that.
It
but
was
I
lazy.
feel like
It was lazy.
for people to, I feel like
yeah.
for that to be people's first impression of him, I was like, that's crazy. People were like, I'm offended. I'm like, I feel like
You shouldn't be.
I feel like he was just doing stupid I mean, I did not like the watermelon joke at all.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like a very old trope. Like that is, I mean, I don't know. I've seen him do better, but it was funny to see people who are not like comedy obsessives be like, who is this No Name? I'm like, No Name. He has
Or,
a
like-
show named after
like,
him.
one thing I never
with tons,
like
millions
with,
of followers.
whether it be with something like with what Tony did or like just other examples, but like when they're like these so-called jokes, I'm like, no, there are such thing as unfunny jokes.
Right.
Jokes, just because something is not funny doesn't make it not a joke. They're bad jokes.
I've heard some bad jokes. I've told some bad
We've
jokes.
said some bad
I've
jokes.
absolutely
Jokes
told
by
some
design,
bad
they are
jokes.
still jokes.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that is true.
I want to be a political rally comedian. That's my goal.
I think you would be good at that,
I
actually. I feel like you would excel
everyone
at
who
that.
was like, why is there a comic at a rally? I think that's cool. I think there should be comics everywhere. Like, I just think he could have told better jokes. Like, he just didn't, he missed the mark.
You
but
could
like,
have just wrote his jokes, I think.
I also
could've
thought
just-
Bill
yeah.
Burr missed the mark with his SNL monologue.
Oh, and I think
It was shockingly bad.
And like, I feel like I wasn't particularly sensitive in that moment because I'd already whatever, but I felt like him starting out with like women shouldn't wear pants. I'm like,
Well,
give
that,
us,
well,
I'm
that
like,
or like,
come on.
ladies, you're 0 for
Ridiculous.
2. It was just, no, it was very, given what, and I'm excluding Dave Chappelle hosting the election after, the show after the election in
Right.
2020 because the circumstances were different, but his monologue in 2016 was exactly what it needed to be.
Right.
It was like quite literally, it was funny, it was thoughtful, it was inspiring, and then so I don't know what I expected with Burr, but it was I thought it was just really like he didn't read the room correctly. It was like in poor taste. It was
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of women were feeling particularly just like, come on, stop hitting us while we're down. And like Bill Burr is really funny, and so like I think I was disappointed. I mean, I've heard him say funnier things just in passing, but I think I have heard a lot of, I don't know, just like stupid jokes about, oh, women can't be president in the last week, and I'm like, make it funny. I'm like, you can tell a joke about gender and politics and whatever, but like make it funny. Don't just be like, women can't be president, or I'm like, that's not. We don't want to hear that right now.
that, and I could almost guarantee you that Burr's monologue was written ahead of time, and I know from Lorne Michaels that he was like, I don't think Dave knew what Dave was going to say until he walked out on that stage.
Yeah.
That was just, because that's what he does. In like a comedy
true.
club, like when he's not filming a special, he just talks. And he's so funny that he...
Right.
Like one thing Evan and I talk about
just-
is when you get to that level, you kind of speak in punchlines.
Right.
And he is so comfortable with speaking just to speak without laughs. And he's
Yeah.
so good at comedy that he can just basically, do that.
Yeah, whereas
Right.
like I heard
Burr,
Bill,
I mean, those were
yeah,
written.
he said on his podcast that he had been like holed up like writing the monologue and doing this, that, and I'm like, you had all that time and you wrote that garbage?
Dude.
Overdue! Pants!
And it's like, whore it up, like, and here's the thing is like,
yeah, the whore it up
the-
comment was crazy.
and like the logic of it is also crazy because imagine if she had come out in like a whorish outfit, people would have crucified her.
Yes,
like
yes.
the like
dude.
gender politics of that comment, like the logic didn't hold up is the thing.
What do
like,
you want her to wear?
Like if Hillary Clinton had come out in a bathing suit, people would have been like, "What the fuck?" and
Yeah, why?
made fun of her.
made no
Like,
just
sense.
come out in a burlap sack? Like, what do we do?
right. Like, it's it was just it was just disappointing because he is very funny. Oh my God, what is his name? Tim, not Tim Pool. The other one with the glasses.
Dylan.
Tim Dillon is like the funniest. Like he's one of those like Chappelle that is just like off the cuff, like so funny to me. Like I feel like he would have, I don't know, done a better job with that
for
monologue.
sure.
Like, but yeah, I don't know.
Or how about have a woman host after that election?
That's an
Yeah,
interesting
true.
concept.
What about that idea? What about like Sarah Silverman?
Right. You could have had even like Nikki Glazer did a great job at the Tom Brady roast. Like, I mean,
like
you could have like
you don't
Samantha
need it
Bee,
all.
like somebody who's like a political
Yeah,
comic.
Roseanne.
Roseanne
Oh
Barr.
my God.
They should have had Roseanne Barr host SNL. That would actually be so fucking funny.
Oh my God.
That would be wild. Here's the
would
thing
be
is like
insane.
I want to see crazy shit. Like I think that if Bill Burr would have like even said something more unhinged than that, that's just like that thought is so tired of like, oh, just put your boobs out, whatever. That's just such like a stupid,
We know that wouldn't work.
Yeah, because people would be like, oh, Kamala's like an empty vessel and she's just,
all boobs and whatever dumb shit. I mean,
come on, Bill.
Yeah.
You disappointed me.
I saw that on my feed too, and it was like, whatever, man. I don't know.
Well, and it's like weird because I feel like Shane Gillis also ate shit when he did his monologue on SNL.
Yeah.
He's not watching.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But like at least it wasn't like a political moment like that where like there was like more at stake, I feel like, and he didn't like offend everybody. You know what I mean? Like I feel like women were just really like raw in that moment. I mean, I'm only speaking for myself, but I feel like a lot of women felt disappointed yet again because like we've lived our whole lives and we've never seen a woman president, and we get close and every single time people are like, we don't want this, you're stupid, so then for Bill Burr to just be like, whore it up, was just kind of like, we can't do anything right.
Could you just find something else?
I really, at this point, I can't wait to see a woman run for either party against somebody who isn't Trump.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it was impossible to beat Trump. I think it might have been impossible to beat any Republican in this election. Around the world, and in elections, you saw the current party that was in power during, Trump was in power during when COVID hit, but when everything when we started to feel the effects of everything, Biden was in power. And you saw in countries around the world that party get voted out. So I don't know that anybody could have beat Trump. I said to my mama, I think you could have put, another white man up against Trump and he would have still lost. She's like, I disagree with that. And I was like, I'm not saying it didn't hurt Kamala that she wasn't a white man. I believe it. Of course it did. And that sucks. But I think beating the Republican Party, just as we saw the massive red shift, like it was a very, very tough task. So I'm eager to see when a woman runs against somebody who's not leading a cult.
I think that the first woman president is going to be a Republican.
Sure.
Because I think I feel like it is hard to be a Democrat and a woman. Like, it's almost like two strikes against you when, like, a lot of the country is
but
still,
Obama was the first black president.
That's true. Maybe the next...
But
then, like,
be a female Democrat.
Elena Kagan, was she was
so.
She was, who the fuck was the first female Supreme Court justice? I can't remember her name. Sandra Day O'Connor.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Anything can happen. Just not for another 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not for...
And, man. I just want to... It's been 3 elections in a row that they've run Trump. I want just 2 fresh people.
Yeah. I would like to see 2 completely different people.
2 new people since 2016.
Oh my God! It's gonna be JD Vance and somebody else in 2028.
Of course it will be. Like, and that means even longer until we get like just like, oh wait, that was true. John McCain. You didn't have anybody's vice president running. You didn't have somebody who had ran before. You just had 2 new people who were bringing their ideas to the table, and they were both very reasonable people with reasonable policies.
It was such a different time, dude.
That was 16 years ago.
Maybe Trump has changed and there's a softer side of him.
Maybe he's like Simon Cowell after he left American Idol.
Yeah.
Left and then came back to... Or Gordon Ramsay on MasterChef Jr. Maybe
he's got something. It is cold, dead heart.
Well,
I wonder what would happen if we just gave Trump an 8-year-old to follow him around. Like, would he be a little bit nicer? Just like everywhere he went, every meeting. Just there's this little 8-year-old following Trump. And it's like,
I feel like
why are we kicking everybody out? What?
What about?
You know, I
doesn't
actually
he
don't
have,
know,
like,
Johnny.
a grandkid?
Yeah, I'm sure he's playing. Oh my god.
Maybe.
To think about Trump as your
Like,
grandpa.
because Ivanka has kids.
That's crazy.
What's her name? You know, his
I
daughter,
don't know.
the blonde.
Ivanka.
Ivanka.
Then Ivanka and Tiffany and Donald Jr. and
yeah, because they all have kids, right?
and Eric. Eric's there too.
Damn, that's a lot of kids.
And then Barron.
He's the heir to the throne.
You think so?
I think so. I think he'll be president one day.
That's gonna be crazy.
Like in 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if he's just in college now, he still has a ways to go. But I feel like it will happen during our lifetime.
Very interesting.
Let's meet back here, and whenever he's 35, let's meet back in this podcast
16
studio.
years exactly.
And
What's that, 2040? See you then.
I'm gonna go put my bet.
Let's hope that the world doesn't explode before then and now.
Put your bets on whatever, FanDuel, politics, Robinhood.
This has been brought to you by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating,
Yes.
and Electrical, where the buzz is always about great service. Fuck you all. Good night.
Fuck you with this Demon Rising. Oh, man. Whew. I hope Rev is okay.
I hope so too.
Oh, man. Do you